Have you been watching the Olympics ice dancing partners and caught yourself holding your breath? Aside from the incredible lifts and the synchronized twizzles, it's the knowledge that at any moment, a single hesitation could change everything for them, along with their hopes and dreams of winning a medal. Recently in Milano Cortina, Lila Fear stumbled in the twizzle sequence of their free dance. And just like that, Great Britain's medal hopes were gone. They had dreamed of becoming the next skating medalist since Torval and Dean's incredible winning performance back in 1994. And it only took that one moment of losing control. Just think at that level, that's all it takes to change everything. And I can't stop thinking about what it teaches us about trust. The kind of trust that literally determines whether you continue to compete as a pair or not. Because at the Olympic level, trust isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. It's the foundation under their whole routine. And I don't mean just avoiding a fall, that's bound to happen. What I'm talking about is believing your partner will be exactly where they need to be every single time, even under pressure like competing at the Olympics. And when a mistake happens, it's much more far reaching than just affecting the score. It can also affect the tight bond between the two partners, too. And sometimes that kind of mistake becomes a turning point, and they can come back even stronger. But sometimes doubt between them starts to creep in, which can be very dangerous in a two-person routine. And if that doubt can't be repaired and they just don't lose a medal, they can lose the partnership that they've spent so many years building. When we put this into context of our business, there's an interesting parallel. When you think about it, your brand is a partnership too. It's a partnership between you and your audience. You, which is representing your brand, is making a promise with everything that you say and write and do and share. And throughout all of this, your audience is deciding if you are safe to trust. And what's so insidious about this is that you don't even know this is happening. It's not as if they will send a complaint or email or provide you with friendly feedback. Well, maybe some will, but for the most part, it's all happening behind the screen without you even knowing it. But over time, they could become more wary of you. And at some point, they may simply move on and find a new partner to trust. And right now, I'm seeing trust get damaged in one specific way that a lot of business owners don't even notice. And that is the use of AI-driven brand messaging. Now, I'm not referring to using AI. I use AI, my team does. That's not the issue here. The issue is when AI starts replacing your authority and your human presence in your marketing. And that happens when your marketing message sounds like everyone else's marketing message, written by the same AI tool. There are many telltale signs. And I admit it, I didn't see those signs early on using AI either. But after a while, I started to see the patterns and the cadences and the grammar cues that now stand out like a sore thumb. And don't be fooled into thinking your audience doesn't notice that too. Now, before you get all defensive on me and say, oh, I'm always reviewing AI, what it writes before I publish it. But hear me out. Are you really? Or are you just quickly scanning for accuracy and calling it a day, thinking how fantastic this all is and how much time you just saved? Look, I get it. I know you're busy and trying to wear many hats, and it can bog you down so much that anything to relieve you of that overwhelm is more than welcome. I know the feeling all too well. But unfortunately, your audience doesn't see what's happening behind the scenes. They don't know how hard you are trying to help them with their problems and their challenges and trying to keep up with everything. All they see is what's right in front of them. They are assessing your credibility through a myriad of signals at any given moment. And trust is built or damaged through those signals. They aren't doing it consciously in a data assessment kind of a way. They're assessing you in a visceral, instinctive way. They're wondering things like, do you sound like a person who knows what they're talking about? Do you come across as someone who has earned their expertise? Or do you give the vibe of someone who is inauthentic? And this is where overusing AI starts to cost you, even if the content looks fine. It might be written perfectly, in fact, but if it doesn't sound like you and it's using common AI centric words and phrases, you run the risk of losing credibility with your audience. You might have done it yourself. Have you ever read a social media post and immediately thought, AI wrote this? And were you immediately disappointed at that realization and scrolled on past? How about an email or a landing page or a website? You instantly downgraded their credibility and authority, didn't you? Your trust in them, and you moved on. So if you're doing it to others, you can be assured that they are doing it to you too. And if you fall into the same trap of leaning in too heavily on AI generated content, that is the brand version of losing trust on the ice. It's not a dramatic fall or a horrific crash. It can be a subtle misstep that can lose an ice dancing team the chance to go home with a medal. My point is, go ahead and use the AI tools that are available to you to help you with your business. But keep in mind, AI is just an assistant, not a replacement of you, not the one speaking as you, not the one replacing your earned expertise. Because if it does, you start sending a signal to never intended to send. And you start sending that signal that you are not really present, that you are not really leading, that you are not really the authority. And in a world where people are already tired and skeptical and overloaded, trust has become fragile. They're looking for what feels real, not AI generated. And they're looking for a person that they can trust, a real expert, a real guide, someone who has been in the trenches, someone who can say, here's what I've learned, and here's what works, and here's what doesn't, and here's what you should do next. AI can help you structure that and help you brainstorm angles, but it cannot replace the part that only you can do, the human authority, the perspective that came from real work with real clients. So the question becomes this: are you leading your brand with trust in mind? Find out by doing an audit of your brand messaging. Take a look at your most recent social media posts and emails that you sent out. Read them out loud and listen carefully. Does it sound really and truly like you? Does it sound like a real person who does real work? Does it sound like someone who can be trusted? Or does it sound like a content voice that could belong to anyone? If you're hearing that AI tone, that perfectly generic voice, then you have a positioning problem that needs to be addressed. And if you're not sure what your brand voice should sound like or how to tighten your message so it feels human and authoritative again, book a free clarity call with me, because you should not be guessing at the very thing that determines trust. Until next time, I'm Susan Friesen, your small business brand positioning strategist, inviting you to stay clear, stay focused, and stand out.